Today's Steelers Talk video is sponsored by Hexclad. Go to hexclad.com/chatsports today for 10% off some premium cookware. Going to tell you more about their awesome products here later on in today's show. Let's get into some Victory Monday takeaways here after the Steelers improved to 2-1 versus the Las Vegas Raiders in Week 3 on Sunday Night Football. It was a glorious victory for the black and gold, and I got 5 takeaways to share with you guys here on this beautiful Monday afternoon. Now get us started here. Get in the comments section. Let me know. What is your one-word reaction to last night's win versus the Las Vegas Raiders here in Week 3? For me personally, my one word's going to be hope. All right, you come into the night. Las Vegas Raiders are kind of a struggling franchise right now. If you walk out of that game with a loss and you go to 1-2 to start the season, you feel hopeless. You feel like this season is pretty much over. However, you go in there, Kenny Pickett looks a lot better there in Week 3. You come away with a victory. You feel good moving into Week 4 here versus the Houston Texans. Now let's get into these takeaways here for Week 3, starting with Kenny Pickett himself here, where I think he looked a lot better this week. But I still think Kenny is definitely a limited quarterback at this point in his NFL career. Last year, in 2022, his rookie season, he was more of a game manager for the Pittsburgh Steelers. First 2 games this season wasn't all that good, and then you get into Week 3 here, and he looked a lot better. But listen, man, 57.2% completion percentage, it's certainly not great. All right, 235 yards passing is a lot better than it has been. A lot of that came on that long touchdown, the Calvin Austin III, and then he had a couple nice throws in this one, including 2 touchdown passes. And the thing that I really liked about Kenny's game this week is that he didn't turn the ball over. When he did so, very, very much in the first 2 weeks. 5 interceptions in weeks 1 and 2, 0 in week 3. That was huge for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And something else that I liked about what Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator, had in terms of the game plan for Kenny Pickett this week is that he got him on the move. He moved the launch point. He had designed rollouts for Kenny, including on that crucial 3rd down and 2 that ended up winning the Steelers the football game to Allen Robinson there in that crucial fourth quarter drive. I really like that because Kenny Pickett, when you look back at his film at Pitt, he was moving the launch point. He was moving in the pocket. He was on the run. He's a very talented passer in terms of that moving the launch point footwork. And then as well, he's also a great passer on the run. That's one of his great strengths. I think offensive coordinator Matt Canada, in communication with Pickett this week, really came up with this game plan to say, hey, that's one of your biggest strengths. That's what we're going to do with you from now on. I think that has to be a linchpin here for the Steelers' pass game moving forward, because at this point in his career, let's just face it, Kenny Pickett isn't a true drop-back passer. And all I want Kenny Pickett to do right now is just be Kenny. He is Knuff, okay? If you watch the Barbie movie, you guys will know what I'm talking about. Of course, my girlfriend took me to that. But Pickett doesn't look like a star to me right now, guys. He just doesn't. We were hoping for that coming into year 2. We see all these quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, all these different guys come into their second year and they take that massive year 2 leap. I don't think we're going to see that from Kenny Pickett this year, unfortunately, based on the 3 games of tape that we have on him this season. It just doesn't look like that's the type of quarterback that he's going to be, at least this season. But he showed in this game that if he protects the football, if he can be a solid game manager, protect the football, make plays when they're there to be made, I think this team can win football games and he can be a really good quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, let me know how you're feeling about QB1 down there in the comments section. What do you make of Kenny Pickett at this point in his career? Do you still think he's going to be a star quarterback? Do you agree with me and think he's more of a game manager type? Or do you think he's just a straight-up bust at this point in his career? Let me know down there in the comments section. Give me an S for star QB, give me a G for game manager, or a B for bust. And this is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So when YouTube throws you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds, do me a favor, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. Now, the second takeaway that I'm coming away from this week is that the run game is still stagnant. We've gone through 3 weeks right now, and Najee Harris, Jaylen Warren, and this offensive line just aren't gelling. They're not getting those explosive plays. They're not getting the efficiency that you're looking for, and that's evidenced by the week 3 yards per carry number here for the Pittsburgh Steelers, which was at 3.4. That's a really, really low number. You want to get that up to close to at least 4 yards per carry. And this week was another example, especially in that fourth quarter when the Steelers were trying to put away the Raiders there in the fourth when they're up 27-3 at one point in that period. You're trying to run the football. You're trying to bleed that clock. But because the run game wasn't moving, it's 3 and out. The Raiders keep getting chances to try and scratch and claw their way back in the football game. And because of that lack of run game, the Raiders were able to do that, and it was a lot closer than it probably should have been. Now, the thing with Matt Canada, now that we've gone over the run game and the pass game, something that I want to make clear is that Matt Canada is still probably a bottom 5 offensive coordinator in the National Football League. I'm willing to give him credit for the adjustments that he made, getting Kenny Pickett on the move, all these different things that he did this week that ended up making this offense better than what it was in the first 2 weeks. But overall, man, Kenny Pickett's still completing less than 60% of his passes. The run game is still averaging less than 3.5 yards per carry. That's still not very great production and efficiency. And in terms of Matt Canada, he still needs a lot of improvement if the Steelers offense is really going to get to even a top 15 league average level. I still view this Steelers offense, unfortunately, as probably a bottom 10 unit. Hopefully Matt Canada in this new promotion, by the way, and let's talk about this real quick. Mike Tomlin, after everything that Matt Canada has done in 3 years, only 2 games over 30 points for the Pittsburgh Steelers in his tenure as offensive coordinator. They're like, let's give this guy some more responsibility. What are we doing, Mike Tomlin? But you know what? What they're doing with him now is something that I actually kind of like, which is that he's going to take a more active role working with quarterback Kenny Pickett moving forward. He's going to be talking with him every day, talking about the offense, how they can make it better. And I really like that strategy, and hopefully this works. I think that, this is another thing that you're putting on Matt Canada's plate. It's more responsibility on a guy that hasn't even proven that he could handle his current responsibilities. But hopefully this extra thing on his plate, working with Kenny Pickett every single day, can lead to some more efficiency and some more oneness, so to speak, some kumbaya between Kenny Pickett and the offensive play caller, Matt Canada. Hopefully it works, but here's another question. Why wasn't that happening before? You're the offensive coordinator. You should be talking with your quarterback every single day. Why do we have to add this responsibility on your plate? You should already be doing this sort of stuff. So I think that just the fact that Mike Tomlin had to give him this responsibility kind of points to some of the inadequacies in Matt Canada as an offensive coordinator. Now, coming up here, I still have some more takeaways to share with you guys from this Week 3 victory versus the Las Vegas Raiders. But first, let's talk about your kitchen, guys. No, I'm not talking about those dirty dishes that are still sitting in the sink from last week. Today's sponsor, Hexclad, has revolutionized the cookware industry with a hybrid pan that gives you all the convenience and cleanup of a nonstick, the versatility of your grandma's cast iron, and a lifetime warranty just in case you find a way to destroy them. Go to hexclad.com/chatsports for 10% off today. Hexclad truly checks every single box when it comes to picking your cookware. They are metal utensil safe, dishwasher safe, and oven safe up to 500 degrees. But don't just take my word for it, guys. Celebrity chef Gordon Ramsay uses them in his very own home kitchen. This is what Gordon has to say about Hexclad. The sear I can get with these pans is incredible with absolutely no stick. The temperature control is utter perfection, and the cleanup is effortless. I love using Hexclad at home. And let me tell you, man, these things are the sexiest pans on the market today. Look at this, man. Look how clean this is. This is my very own Hexclad pan. I pan-seared steak on this baby last night. Cassie and I love making steaks on this thing about 2 times a week, and the cleanup is super easy. It looks like it's brand new out of the box every time I clean it, and that's why I love it. Best steaks I've ever had in my life, by the way, cooking my steaks on Hexclad. Score points at home today. It's time to stop ordering delivery food and start cooking like a big boy with Hexclad today. Real cuisine isn't made in a microwave. It's cooked in a Hexclad. For limited time only, get 10% off with our special link, hexclad.com/chatsports. That's 10% off at hexclad.com/chatsports. Now let's get into another takeaway from this week's game, which is that I think the defense is absolutely living up to the hype right now. Now, sure, they've given up some big runs against guys like Nick Chubb and Christian McCaffrey, some of the best running backs in football. But yesterday they did a great job against Josh Jacobs, last year's rushing leader. And then some of the impact plays that they've been able to generate here has been incredible. Look at that sack number 13 through just 3 weeks. That's incredible. 6 of those, by the way, come from T.J. Watt. And then the turnovers, 3 last night versus Jimmy Garoppolo, 3 interceptions. And that's 8 total for the start of this season. That's absolutely fantastic production here, and that's going to win you a lot of football games if the Steelers defense can keep up that sort of production on defense. And let's talk about some of those impact players on defense right now, starting with T.J. Watt, who in my opinion is probably the defensive player of the year to this point in the National Football League. 11 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, 1 fumble recovery, and a touchdown on that fumble recovery right there. T.J. Watt is doing things that nobody can do in the National Football League, plain and simply, man. This guy is incredible at forcing turnovers, creating sack production. This guy can't be stopped. He's got incredible strength for bull rushes. He's got great speed to get around right tackles. He's got bend to kind of curve down to some of those bigger guys. You saw that versus DeJuan Jones in the Cleveland game. This guy cannot be stopped. He's absolutely fantastic. That's why I think he'll win Defensive Player of the Year this year if he stays healthy. Now let's talk about my MVP for this game, not only defensively, for the whole game, in my opinion. Levi Wallace, when I went through the film, I was absolutely floored by the way Levi Wallace played in this game. He had some mistakes. I mean, whenever you go up against Davante Adams, who's arguably the best receiver in football, you're going to take some losses. But the way Levi really stuck in there, finished out with 6 tackles, 4 pass breakups, and 2 interceptions, including the game clincher there on the final drive. I mean, I'm sold on Levi Wallace right now. He had a couple of tough games to start this season, took some flack for it, but he really bounced back in week 3 with a big performance here for the Steelers defense. Now let's go to the other side of the secondary here, and Patrick Peterson, who also looked the part here of a really good cornerback in this league. Again, like Levi, a couple of kind of difficult games those first 2 weeks. I thought he played better in week 2 than he did against San Francisco, but he played even better this week against the Las Vegas Raiders. They didn't really even throw in his direction, finished with 5 tackles and a pass breakup, and then also had that interception on one of Jimmy G's kind of lob passes that he punted to the Steelers defense. And then a rookie that really stepped up for the Steelers defense this week was Keanu Benton, a tackle for a loss, and a sack. And listen, you might be looking at that and saying, oh, he's only getting one of those in each category. Why are you saying that he's stepping up, Jack? It's because of the impact that he's having on the defensive line. He is not moving. He is not moving off his spot. It doesn't matter if they double team him or whatever. This guy had a great impact in the run defense last night, and he deserves credit for that, along with his explosiveness getting to the quarterback and blowing plays up in the run game as well. Now, this looks like a top 5 defense to me. I've said that before. I've gone into the season saying that this is probably going to be a top 3 defense, if not the best defense in the league. Now, I still think I need to see a little bit more before I can definitively say this is the best defense in football, but they're definitely on their way, and I really liked what I saw versus the Raiders here in week 3. Now, what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comment section. Do the Steelers have a top 5 defense in this league right now? Give me a yes or give me a no. Can't wait to see how you're feeling about the Steelers defense down there in the comments. I want to give a quick shout out to Pressley Harvin, the punter. I mean, this guy, drafted by the Steelers, whenever you draft a punter, big time expectations come his way. Has not lived up to those expectations ever since he got drafted. Even in week 1, did not have a good performance. Mike Tomlin called him out in front of the national media. And in these last 2 weeks, he's been really, really good. I wanted to give him a quick shout out here and give him some love because I didn't mention him during my post-game reaction show yesterday, and he had a great game here on Sunday Night Football. And my final takeaway here in week 3 is that I think the Steelers have found their winning formula here for 2023. And it's actually the same exact formula that they had in 2022, which is that you gotta limit your turnovers, you gotta protect the football, plus you have to dominate on defense. If you do those 2 things, it usually translates to a Steelers victory. That's going to be the formula for success here for the Steelers in 2023 as well, at least in my opinion. You take a look at that last playoff push last year, those last 9 games of the 2022 season last year. Do you see anything of a trend here based on the wins? Look at that. Every single win here, all 7 of the wins here are these last 9 games. Under 17 points the opponent scored. That's absolutely incredible. You look at the numbers from last year with Pittsburgh, they were number 1 or number 2 in most defensive categories during this stretch. And it's not like the offense is scoring that much, right? Look at Matt Canada. The only 30-point game on this list is a loss to the Cincinnati Bengals, right? So it's not like the offense is absolutely lighting it up, but Kenny Pickett did a really good job at limiting turnovers during this stretch. He only had 1 during the last 9 games of 2022. And if you're holding all of your opponents to under 17 points, that's going to be a recipe for success. And I think it's got to be the exact same thing for the Pittsburgh Steelers here in 2023. And that's all I'm asking from Pickett this year, man. A lot of people came into this year, including myself, hoping he was going to take a big second-year leap, that he's going to become a guy that can really become somebody that, even if the defense knows he's passing, can still carve up NFL defenses. But I really don't think that that's really what he's going to be this year. I think he can be somebody that, if you have a balanced offensive attack, he can hit some of these guys. He can thrive on play action. He can thrive outside the pocket on design bootlegs and all this different stuff. And then he can not turn the ball over and be a good game manager to allow this ravenous defense with T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith and Minkah Fitzpatrick and Patrick Peterson to dominate their opponent and win these close games late. I think that's absolutely possible for this Pittsburgh Steelers team this year. And I think that is a formula that can get you to 9, 10, maybe even 11 or 12 wins this year if Kenny Pickett is good enough at his job and can protect the football. All right, now prediction time for me down there in the comments section. After these first 3 weeks, of course, we're 2-1 right now. What do you guys think will be the final Steelers record there after Week 18? Heading to the end of the regular season? What do you think this final record for Pittsburgh's going to be? Let me know what you got down there in the comment section. I can't wait to see how you guys are feeling about the black and gold. That's going to be it for today's show, guys. Really do appreciate your support. If you made it to the end of today's video, that means we must be doing something right. And if you've already watched 4 or 5 of our videos and you haven't clicked that subscribe button, we need to get this thing going, man. Become an expert on the Pittsburgh Steelers today, because we got daily and free content here on YouTube. And if you're watching our videos every single day, you will become an expert on this football team. Also, we got weekly live shows and watch parties for every single Steelers game this season. All 17 games we're covering live, as well as our live shows every single Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. And we're also the fastest growing Steelers channel on the platform right now. We're getting close to 32,000 subscribers. You could help us get there today. And then, of course, the biggest benefit, it's 100% free. You get all these benefits for absolutely no cost. So we'd really appreciate it if you click that subscribe button right now.